Hey y'all, it is Lyne't. I did better today, didn't I, y'all? I don't have on my. I was like, I might as well make that my little Bert and Ernie sweater. I talk pretty good, teach pretty good when I'm wearing that. But today, I'm coming to y'all because, like, I talked about Earth Angels and I talked about um, releasing from being controlled, taking back your freedom. But I was talking to someone and she realized that the man she's with, it seems like they have this term called empath now. And empath, which I was told by an elder, ain't nothing but a seer. That's it. A seer is a person that the elders called who could see things, who were like prophets, but they were a little bit deeper than prophets because they could look into your spirit and your soul and see where you're hurting and where things are not going right, and they could feel you. And so she was talking to me, but she said it's crazy because her man has traits of an empath, but he's very, very, she used the words evil. He does things like cheat on her and blame it on her. He does things like you know uh he doesn't remember her on special days and then tells her that she's asking for too much. He's very narcissistic, but he has empath traits. And I explained to her, I said, we all have come in contact with someone like that because spirit, God, the spirit, the forces of God, the Almighty, my Genesis 1 and 26, you might call it Allah, you might call it Jehovah, whatever you call it. Some people uh, call it the deities. Whatever you call the energy that created you, that you believe that propels your life. Science calls it energy. But they didn't just stop at us when they gave us the ability to see. They didn't just stop at the earth angels when they gave us the ability to see what people are dealing with and then be able to know exactly what it is and address it. They didn't just stop at us. Energy, and this is what I tell everybody, energy is everything. You will never find a pastor, a spiritual leader, a religious leader, nobody, a scientist, an atheist, you won't find anybody who will say, I'm done with my energy, you can have it back. You won't find anyone who will say that because the is what energy is what in science is called energy, frequency, vibration, waves and crystals. That's what it's called in science or quantum physics. Um, but in spirituality and religion, it's called different god names and different deity names. And even in atheism and agnostic, it's still referred to as a presence. So just because, excuse me, I was sitting on my jacket and it was pulling backwards. But just because we as earth angels have this ability, it was a given to us all. Everybody has a gift and everybody has an ability. And don't I never think myself better than anyone. I never think myself I look at it as I'm in human form. So it's impossible for me to be better than anybody else because I'm in human form. So that means I'm the same as everybody else. I'm in human form. It's just my spirit is different. And during the times that I was trying to figure out, because I have been raised a certain way, during the times that I was trying to figure out who I was, I did very human like things. I did very human like things. And it's nothing to be proud of. And so that's what I need people to understand is everybody, they now in science call it a dark empath. I want everyone to, if you trying to figure out how this person is coming across as a quote unquote empath, but they're so evil, it's called a dark empath. That's it. Um, Hold on. And this is me, y'all don't know, but the people on Facebook know that I don't like quoting scripture and it's not accurate because I'll be quoted something because I got like dang near the whole Bible memorized, but it'd be like all over the place sometimes. Um, but yeah, so I need everyone to understand that every person has a gift. Every person has a gift. No one person is on this earth without a gift. And so you are not special because you consider yourself an empath or because you know you're an empath. Um, you're not. It's literally, we all have gifts that we have to use. We all have gifts that are required of us. I'm gonna edit this part out, so don't worry. Go on there and edit it out before I put it up. First Peter chapter 4, verse 8 through 11. Above all things, have fervent charity amongst yourself, for charity shall cover a multitude of sins. And charity is simply love. That's it. It's love. God is love. And so if you, like I told you, if you allow God to drive the car, God ain't gonna worry about nobody else. You're gonna do what you're supposed to do. And the reason why it says it covers a multitude of sins, it literally stops you from getting into your emotions. And you can understand why people behave the way they behave. It does not mean you have to stay. Here's the thing. When you understand how people are, it does not mean you have to stay in constant communication with that person. That's not what that means. That means that you understand how they are, and you, as my mom and them used to say, you love them with a long handled spoon, but they used to say it with a negative connotation. No, you say, okay, I understand that you don't know what I know. You are not allowing God to drive your vehicle. You're not, you know how we get in, it's only one driver of a car, even in a student's car where there's two wheels and two sets of pedals and everything. There's only one driver of a vehicle. And so you know that those people are not allowing their God to drive their vehicle and to experience their world through their senses and through their body. So that's where it says, 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8 says, above all things have fervent charity among yourselves, which means just simply let God live. Don't you try to live. You of yourself can do nothing. You and the Father are one. And so it says, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins, which simply means God ain't worried about nothing. You don't have to get, sins is emotions. Remember, sin is the Mesopotamian god, the Sumerian god of the moon. And if y'all know anything about like the spiritual side to things, the moon is considered the emotions. You get it now? Okay. So verse 9, use hospitality to one another without grudging, which simply means just be good to people. And don't make it to where I'm just gonna go on ahead and go up in here and be nice. No. Just be a naturally good person. Just be a good person. It doesn't have to have something to go with it. It doesn't have to have uh grudgingly or sorrowfulness with it. Just be a good person. And if you're in the presence of people who challenge that part of you, then you're allowed to remove yourself. You're allowed to have peace of mind. You're allowed to have joy, love, peace, and happiness. You're allowed to not allow people to pull you into their space. That's fine. Because God controls you, not the person. Verse 10, as every man hath received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold of grace. So it simply says that every person, every man, everybody has the gifts of God. And the gifts of God are to be able to see people's emotions. Now, some people can see it and they're not going to give you anything back. I always tell people a narcissist would make a very good therapist if they could get control of that. Because they literally can see that you're going through stuff, but they could care less. Literally, they can't feel for you. It's in their brain. Their neural pathways are formed to where they cannot have that literal compassion for you, to where they feel what you feel. It's impossible. They can't. So they make great psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, because they can't take in how you feel. They can observe it, they can see it, and then they can help you get better, as long as they're not doing their manipulative thing. That's the only part of them being a psychiatrist and psychologist. They might do some very unscrupulous things. But hey, so again, as every man hath received the gift, y'all forgive me for the way I was reading yesterday. I was so tired, but I had to get that message out. And I was like, it seems like I can't read. I can read. It says, as every man hath received the gift, even so minister the same to one another as good stewards of the manifold of grace. You got to minister to one another. Verse 11, if any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. If any man minister, let him do it as the ability which God giveth, that God in all things may be glorified through Jesus Christ, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Verse 11 has a really deep meaning that I cannot go into here, because you have to go through my course in order to teach it. I teach a spiritual life coaching course called Ascending the Power of I Am. But my students understand exactly what verse 11 means. But I will say this, the very clear message in verse 11 is, do not speak of the things of God unless God is speaking. Jesus said, of myself I do what? Of myself I do nothing. I and the Father are one, which simply means my abilities, my actions, my senses, everything, I'm the vehicle. But the thoughts that power this vehicle, that go into the brain, that makes the brain fire up and speak words and move and do and smell and see and taste and hear, those and feel, that message is from God and God alone, whoever your God is. It does not have to be the God that I worship. Genesis 1:26, I'm going to keep saying it. It doesn't have to be them. It literally is whoever powers you to do great things, to be good without grudging. I have a family member who is a horrible Christian. He's an amazing Muslim. So that means he's not supposed to be a Christian. Literally. Don't let someone shame you into their beliefs. And I teach a certain way to my students, to where I don't even force them. I teach them from the Bible, but it's just for principle's sake, for they can understand what I'm saying. I have students that were atheists. I had a student that was an atheist. And when he got done being an atheist, he started believing in his highest self. But he went from not believing in anything to saying, well, I believe in my highest self. I said, okay. I said, I'm not asking you to change anything. He said, oh, no, you never did. But what you taught me, it gave me perspective. Because I just simply teach you how to live your best life. And so with that, I love y'all. I wish everybody joy, love, peace, happiness, health, wealth, well-being, total enlightenment. But I wanted to share with you all, using 1 Peter chapter 8, that every man receives the gift. Every person, every human being on this planet that is born, that is conceived, receives the gift. And everyone that's born and lives receives the gift. And the gift never goes away. It never says the gift is taken away, because it's not. So just because someone presents empath traits, they can be what they call a dark empath, which is what do they call it? Hold on. Psychopaths with empathy. or sociopathic narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, and narcissists that have empathy. I was married to one, so I know exactly what it's like to deal with one, and that's how they can pull on your heartstrings. And they literally show empathy. Every man, what does it say in First Peter chapter 8? First Peter chapter 4, verse 10. Every man that hath received the as every man hath received the gift. Every man. It didn't say a select few. Every single one of us. I wish everybody joy, love, peace, happiness, health, wealth, well-being, total enlightenment, prosperity, success, affluence, abundance, and a whole lot of money to you if you want it. This is Lyne't. Y'all take care.